swear to you, there's music coming out of this portal.
Music? What are you talking about, Peter?
It's the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. And, well, we just had an interesting conversation, which we can't repeat on air, but it was quite interesting. And I would like to say, welcome to Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. And over in my far corner is the supreme demigod of science fiction, my co-host, Michael Ball, aka Coquelut. And please check out his channel because it's rather cool. And I'm by the gods of science fiction, and I talk about series that got cancelled, or they're obscure, or something where somebody will say to me, I remember that. So, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Martin.
Hello, Michael.
Thanks.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We won't sort of divulge about it, but we can say that out there, when you go shopping, you can meet some interesting individuals when you're waiting by the checkout. That's all I'm going to say.
The human race is very interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, exactly. It certainly takes all sorts to be on planet Earth in 2024.
If you come into this planet from out there, you know,
God knows what the aliens. What the aliens would do if they came to Portsmouth last week when I saw this individual. Then okay, I won't say anymore. Anyway, so how are things with you? Because I know you've been busy with a few things up where you are.
Well, I was going to go see that Madam Web film, but
that's what I wanted to talk about in the news because it has bombed. Apparently, it's a big pile of shite. It is a critical failure. It's got really low ratings on Internet Movie Rotten Tomatoes. It's a pile of shit.
I watched some reviews by actual real hardcore Marvel fans that, like, even stuff a lot of people thought they will support and like it. And I was surprised by one or two of them. There was, she said the other day, she said, I went to see it, and she said it shouldn't have even been made.
What's so bad about it? Why is it so bad?
I don't know. I've not seen it yet. I've seen the trailer. It sort of looks interesting. I don't know. When I saw the trailer, I thought, I don't want to see this.
From what I know, there was a person
I don't know why.
There's a villain in it who apparently has like Spider-Man powers or something. He's like the antagonist.
Yeah.
And there's about 4 female lead or characters who are the goodies, but I don't know what they're doing. Or that's what I mean. I've not even seen the trailer, but I saw.
I mean,
go on.
It's just. You know, Marvel really needs to get its shit together.
This is Sony. This one's Sony, though. This isn't Marvel.
Well, yeah, no, because they own all the rights to the Spider-Man characters, don't they?
Well, apparently they do. The Sony one, they don't have the rights to actually back the Spider-Man himself, but it's all the characters associated with Spider-Man.
Madam Web is
that's what I've understood.
She used to sit in a fucking chair in comics. She's an old woman, and she can predict the future through different webs of time. That's it.
Oh, web of time.
And she's blind, and sits in this like life chair and she can see different. That's it. And she pops up now and again. There were nothing major big. She was in Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s. They tried to do something over there, but it's. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing in this film. I don't care. You know. And it's just I just can't.
But is it superhero franchise fatigue? You have to ask this, right? There are so many. You know, you're more of a superhero fan than I am. I don't dislike superhero fans films, but you're more into it than I am with all the different shows and stuff. But what do you think?
They've dropped. Well, it's like Marvel started with a big villain character, but in real life, this guy he got Marvel sacked the new villain. Because he had problems in his personal life, and so obviously to keep the franchise, to protect it, they get rid of you, don't they? And so they've dropped that, and now we found out this last week that Pedro Pascal, the Mando, he's the new Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
and they've got a British actress. She's very good, actually. She's Jess Summit Kirby. I forgot her name, but she's the Invisible Woman. But they what they've done is the whole film is going to be about her.
Oh, right.
And the other characters, they're a family that's about all of them together. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Marvel at the moment. I really don't. DC, I will praise the Superman series. I really do like, but DC's in the same boat.
So is it indicative of, like I said, is it indicative of superhero franchise fatigue, or is it just? There's been a lot of films, there's been a lot of sort of stuff, hasn't there?
Yeah, I think we could be in the final 5 years of it, unless they get. I mean, they're bringing Deadpool, they're teaming up with Wolverine. That's all we're getting this year.
I mean, it reminds me a bit
if
of
you've
the.
seen the trailer.
I mean, do you remember the Star Trek franchise fatigue in the early '90s?
Yeah,
When
that was seen in the
Enterprise,
films towards the end.
yeah, I mean, Nemesis bombed. Even though I actually quite like Nemesis, even though I'm in the minority,
to be honest, I didn't
think
mind
it's
it.
quite a good film actually. It's not, it's not the most memorable film, but for what it is, I quite like it. I've always quite liked Nemesis. It's better than Insurrection, which I thought was the weakest of them.
I liked Insurrection.
Which one did you prefer? Which one do you prefer? Insurrection or Nemesis?
Obviously, I thought Generations was the worst.
Oh no!
I love
Generations. No, you
really?
Yeah, you prefer Insurrection to Generations.
Well, no, yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's it. I'm done, mate. That's the end of the podcast now. I'm pissed off now. I love Generations. I love Generations.
Generations was terrible.
No, it wasn't. No, it was a great film. I loved it.
Honestly, well, I never liked it. I thought it was so episodes of Next Gen put together and shoved up cinema screen.
No.
Well, I mean, you know, Kirk shouldn't have died like the way he did. He should have gone down with the Enterprise, saving the universe. Well, he should have done. Instead, he gets squashed by a bridge and he goes, "Oh, it's been fun," and then William Shatner wrote 5 fucking books where he comes back.
Yeah, well, don't worry
even
about that.
there
I don't care about I only care about sort of like legit, real live action.
I like Insurrection. I really do like Insurrection.
Do you know we have not reviewed a single Star Trek movie.
No, we haven't. All right, Generations. I'm up for that.
Oh,
first
bloody
one.
Well, all right, okay. So next week we're talking off here. We're doing.
Fucking! I've lost count everywhere.
Robinson Crusoe on Mars. Robinson Crusoe on Mars. Next week. Yeah. And then we'll do. We've got to do Generation. Oh man. Okay. I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be saying what I think about.
2 weeks time we do Generations.
Oh God.
And this week we're doing Goliath weights, and next week what we're doing next week?
Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay. Fantastic.
Because we added another film over the weekend, so I mean,
what was the other
I don't
one?
know. I forgot. You sent me something and said we need to do this. And
I'm sorry. I'll tell you one thing, because it's funny actually. We are another show, because we haven't done a TV series for ages, and the one thing I think we should do soon, because I still remember it and it's not half as good, is the remake of V. The V remake, which they made about 10 years ago. We've never reviewed that one.
Well, Marina Baccarin, you mean?
Yeah, the one that they did about 10 years ago.
Let's do that the week after. I've been out with that. I was so fucking built up for that.
I was disappointed.
And I did like the final episode. I did sort of like that.
I can't remember the final. I'll rewatch the final episode.
I do.
I wasn't that mad about it.
But I didn't like where it were going. But we'll talk about that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, all right, okay. Yeah. Is it 1 or 2 seasons to that do?
2 seasons, yeah. 2
seasons, okay, all right.
There's only about 24 episodes, that's it.
Yeah, I might give that a rewatch so we can do that, okay.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, anyway, I digress. News-wise, the colorized episode of Doctor Who and the Daleks, which I've only just recently seen for the first time, has just been released on Blu-ray. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't seen it until now, I was just saying to Martin before we went on recording that the problem with the classic Who, at least for some stories, is that the pacing is incredibly slow, and this just
Yeah.
tightened it up for me. I love seeing all the characters in colour. Although I don't know why the TARDIS floor is bright blue. I'm sure it isn't like that in reality, but they did it bright blue for some reason. But I think on the whole, and it had some nice additions like the cloister bell, which you never heard until Logopolis was used in this episode. And that was nice that they mixed in some canon and stuff like that. So that's just been released. What else is happening? They finished filming Andor, which I think I've already told about 5 times. We know about that. They're doing Strange New Worlds. They're filming the Section 31 for Star Trek. There's not much going on though. It's still really, really quiet.
Well, Discovery's back on. Is it April 4th?
April which is isn't that First Contact Day in Star Trek? Isn't it? April.
I think so. Yeah.
April 4th or April 5th. I'm not sure.
No, it's either. Well, it's one of them, isn't it?
It's near First Contact Day on Star Trek. I can't say. And I'm not very excited about it. I will watch it, but out of everything in Star Trek, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this: I am not getting my hopes up this time round for Discovery season 5. I'm not. Okay, I'm going to be going in looking.
Well, I could have told you about that Star Trek Generations 20 odd
years
ago. No. To see. If you'd have met me back then, I'd have told you not to fucking bother.
No, right, okay. On YouTube then, right, when we come up to, I'm going to have to do a poll. Is Star Trek Generations any good? Yes or no? I'm going to put it on my poll. I'll tell you, I will defend my Generations against anything. I'll defend it against your Batman versus Superman film, and I know how much you love that.
Well, I'll challenge it with Ant and Dex. What is it?
No. All right, you win. Okay, don't do that.
I'm all right. All right, do a poll, yeah. Star Trek Insurrection or Star Trek Generations?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then next one is what is it?
Well, no, we'll do all the 4.
Star Trek. Do all 4.
Do the 4 Next Generation movies, right? What is the best Next Generation movie? And I'll do. I'll do that. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And then, when I win, when Generations is way above Insurrection, I could be all smug.
I don't think so. Fucking Generate, terrible film, man. It shouldn't have been like that. Did it on cheap. They got him.
It was good.
They did it on cheap.
Lovely. Dennis McCarthy's musical score was lovely.
That's all right. But Captain Kirk should not have died the way he fucking
matter.
Did.
It
does fucking matter.
No.
He should have gone down with it. You know when the Enterprise saucer was going into that planet? Kirk should have been sat in chair. Should have been sat in chair going. And his final words as they were crashing into the planet, he's going, "It's been fun," and he went flying through the big screen, and his ass was sticking out of it.
I will say though,
that's how it should have been.
The only thing I will say, that when he was buried with the stones over him, there wasn't enough stones to cover up his frame. It was a bit small, the stones.
And what about his toupee as well?
Yeah, but he's had that since Motion Picture, so that's not new.
What stuck his toupee? Put his toupee on top of stuff. I mean, you think a hero like that, he would have been took back to Earth. They took him back to Earth. Oh, no, but
they did. Technically, they did in Picard, didn't they? Because they brought back the Enterprise D saucer. So they did.
Yeah. The clone.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Now the infamous Zoom is counting down again. I've got less than a minute. So on this point, we will go into our focus of the week, Martin. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
Right, so this week we are reviewing a film from 1981. It is an American made-for-television action-adventure science fiction thriller film. Originally broadcast in 2 parts in November 1981 on various stations as part of Operation Prime Time's syndicated programming. It is about an ocean liner sunk by a German U-boat in 1939, whose wreck is discovered in 1981 with over 300 survivors and their descendants living in an air bubble inside the ship. And that is, of course, Goliath Awaits, which is a film which I don't know the first time I saw this, but I did like it, even though some of the science in the film is a bit wonky, i.e., how can they survive? But we'll talk about that in a moment. As far as I know, this film has never been released properly on DVD, Blu-ray, HD. You can find it online from sources which I'm not going to link to, but most of the copies out there are pretty fuzzy and low res. Although I think it is on YouTube. You can actually watch it.
I've got it on my YouTube. Just a quick.
No, go
if you'd
for it.
like to watch the film Gutter by the Gods of Science Fiction, because I've got a decent copy. Also, if you want to buy Goliath Awaits t-shirts and Goliath Awaits mugs, go to my channel.
That was not a link. That was completely innocent. I did not know you actually put the film on your channel.
I've had it on there for nearly 6 months now. I've had about 18,000 views on it.
18,000?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I've had hundreds of comments.
Oh, great. Well, that's really good. So tell me about it.
Find it.
Well, I'll tell you what. While you talk about your first impressions, I'll look up your channel and find it and go for it.
Right. Well, I think it's had a lot of views. I was surprised. I was in one Thursday night babysitting because I've got two younger brothers.
Okay.
And there's quite an age gap between us both. And parents had gone out and they were in bed, and I was downstairs watching TV, and it were on ITV on a Thursday night. I don't know why I remember the night it was, and I watched this film, and it was a submarine going. They were hearing this clanging coming from the bottom of the ocean, and this like deep sea sub goes down there.
Yeah.
And they fly around the sub, and one of the portals lights up.
Yeah, that's right.
And they go inside, and there's a whole society in there. They've been down there for years.
That's right.
And you are right about the science of the film. And there's a bit of a civil war going on as well.
Yeah, there's like a renegade faction which are in part of the ship, and they don't like the way that it's going, and they want to do their own thing. And of course, the film does feature the lovely Emma Samms, who you can't go wrong with a bit of Emma Samms. So
you can't.
I could look at her through her portal anytime you wanted. That'd be great.
Yeah, same. I fancied her on Dynasty.
God, I know. Yeah, on Colby's, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
She got taken up by aliens in the last episode.
I did. I covered that episode. I covered that.
It's a lot of links to your. So buy the Gods of.
And if you go to buy
YouTube.
the Gods of Science Fiction, there's an episode called Could Have Been Classic, a special, where it's all about Fallon. Emma Samms gets beat up by an alien.
Yeah, I didn't know the character's name, but I just remember she used to look very nice in that show.
Fucking ridiculous. The most ridiculous. I watched
I remember
that on a Thursday night as well.
Yeah, I remember that. It was the last episode that she got taken up to a spaceship, and that was the end of the Colby's, I think it was.
Yes, in the desert, and the car stopped working, and then and as she sat in car like nothing's working, just in background through back car window you see a UFO hover past, and you're like, oh fuck off, man. And she got out of car, and there's an alien stood there. It's a dude in a spandex outfit going.
Oh, I can't remember anything about what the aliens look like. I just know that she.
Ridiculous,
I don't remember that. I don't remember.
This door opens like that, and there's a dude in spandex going, come in. You know what I mean? fuck off, man. I mean,
Did they have a northern accent?
That is just.
Did they have a British northern accent?
No, he didn't have a
Come
bloody
in, love.
northern.
Come in, love. Trouble uphill.
Hey up, love. Come on.
Love. Come here, you little numpty. I'll just come into my ship. And I can't do a northern accent, as you can probably tell.
I mean, they tried to reincorporate it into later series. You know, like they tried to bring it into dinner. Yeah, but she ended up with all the dream apparently. So.
Like Dallas. Anyway, this is not about the Colbys.
No, sorry, we're going off topic. We're going off topic.
Yeah, but we are talking about Emma Samms, so that's fine. I think that I can allow that because
okay.
That's fine because I don't mind a bit of that, especially Anyway, so we did see Emma Samms appearing out of a portal in the trailer of this movie. Now this film is an interesting one because most people I mentioned to have never heard of it. It's one of those cult things that I think personally should have.
It has a following.
But I'm not surprised. But what I'm saying is that even though it does have a following, it's not that well known compared to a lot. But I mean, your channel is, as I said many times before, this
it's what I
this
cover
finds
all
the
that
unique,
type of stuff.
and this
Yeah,
is it.
yeah.
And I can't remember how I came across this movie, but I remember I just heard the idea of this ship underneath the sea, which had been there for 30, 40 years since World War II in the 80s. And Christopher Lee's in it, of course. You can't go wrong. Christopher Lee, what a fantastic actor
No.
in cult movies. And also the guy that played the Joker in Batman was in it, in the original Adam West Batman. He was in it as well.
Oh, Cesar Romero.
Yeah, he was, and of course he was the
Yeah,
one that was
yeah.
in the episode of Star Trek with the one black side and one white side of the face that raced.
Oh, the Riddler, Frank Gorshin.
Yeah, and he was the
the Riddler. Yeah. It's Frank Gorshin.
Let This Be Your Last Battlefield. I think that was the episode of Star Trek
Yeah,
he was in.
yeah, Frank Gorshin.
Brilliant episode, and I like the actor. I think I haven't seen him in a lot.
Man,
but
he's great. He's a great.
he was
actor.
great as the villain, the sort of like psychic of the captain. I've got your comments about this film as well, so I'll read this out in a little while as well on your channel. I like the idea that time had moved on, and it was like a generational ship, and they could not get up back to the surface. But it is a bit of a hokey premise, because I can't remember how. They said I think they grew algae in America,
And they lived on budgies.
they lived on budgies.
Yeah,
Did they?
I'm not making it up. They lived on budgies. Yeah.
They lived on budgies. There's not a
Yeah,
lot of
they
meat on a
did, yeah.
budgie.
No, because when the ship went down, Christopher Lee, let's call him Dracula, right?
Yeah,
Dracula, right?
Captain
Captain
Dracula.
Dracula. Captain Dracula, right?
Yeah.
When the ship got torpedoed and the ship was like going down, he apparently was quite scientific. He created a method to pressurize inside the ship,
That's right.
and they had air. The moss provides the air because they use moss.
How would moss be able to create enough oxygen?
I'm only going by what he come. There's something. No, there was something growing on the ship, and they grew it, and that creates the air. But there was a big aviary because they used to have dinner every night in the dining hall with orchestra. I mean,
Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember
they
the
were all
budgies.
they were all dressing up for dinner. They living down there. They were still carrying on like normal, you know. And they had a big aviary and they were eating budgies. So they were breeding out budgies.
Sorry,
I don't know.
is this the extended version or something? Because I saw it. I don't remember seeing it.
I'm not spoiling it for you, mate.
I remember it. I don't remember seeing
Right,
that
right.
scene, but they've got like
No,
Joey
there's
the
a
Budgie.
scene
or
where
something.
they've got a big fucking aviary, right, in the dining hall. You know when them all Victor, they had them big dining hall. It was all a thing
Yeah.
on it to get dressed up for dinner and all. They were still doing it even down there, but they were all sat there and were all being served fucking eggs and cooked budgies and shit. And that's how they survived. I mean, they obviously, I don't know how
They must
managed.
have had a lot of budgies because there's not a lot of meat on a budgie.
Well, they probably had 4 budgies on a fucking plate. Then I don't.
Even that's
know,
not
do they?
much, is it? Well, okay.
Even a budgie egg, but they had stuff, and I assume there were at least there were that part of ship where submarine went in. Fish must have popped up in there now and again. The caught fish, you know. But I mean, it does explain how do they wash they can wash the clothes in seawater, but how do you drink water? Because you've got to desalinate the water to drink.
Yeah.
Unless, say, you had a recite where they're all having, piss and stuff. And they seem to have plenty of wine down there as well. I remember they were all having wine. I'm not making it up.
Look, why?
I'm
look,
sorry
I
for
actually,
destroying
no,
this
I
film
like
for
this
you.
film,
I'm
but
not.
this review is actually taking the piss. It's not. It's just
It's
just
just
a bit
coming out with-
scientifically a bit off, isn't it?
In 1981, when I
it
was
was
about
really
15
sound. It
and
seemed really
watched
sound
it,
to me. Yeah.
I think it were in 2 parts as well.
It was in
I
2
think
parts. It was.
Yeah.
in 2 parts.
Yeah, it were in 2 parts, and I watched it. I was so fucking fascinated by it. I was just fascinated by like Christopher Lee creating this whole society in an ocean liner underwater, and they were still carrying on like Victorians, and they were having children as well, and it were like, well, it's not going to happen, is it? I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, where were air coming from?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, like I said,
I mean, roast budgie. Can you imagine a budgie egg for breakfast? Can you imagine a budgie egg? Just picture it.
They're
You
not
get
very
an egg,
big.
right?
They're not very big budgie
Well,
eggs.
precisely.
Yeah. You'd have to
And-
have about 10 budgie eggs for one chicken egg.
Well, that's what they were doing. They kept breeding, unless they were fishing. But then the fish must have.
Did they all
but-
talk? Were they like? I mean, did they like
Oh,
go to
the
neighbour and all
budgies.
going like, yeah? Whether did
No.
they teach them to, they all sort of said ahoy there, Captain, or something. Or...
Well, they might have done. I mean, I don't know. They might have grown food down there because I think there was some kind of moss or something, and he created a system where they could breathe.
Can they not go
It-
fishing? Is there anywhere where they could access fish down there and eat fish?
Well, I don't know. I think they were that deep down. It's they couldn't climb up if they couldn't go up to the surface because they got crushed.
the bends, also the bends, wouldn't they?
The bends as well.
Yeah.
But then again, they were in this environment. I mean, to be honest, there's no way they could have survived it because the technology as well. It would have only lasted for so long. It would because then you need replacement parts. I mean, obviously the cannibalised parts of the ship.
But also,
But
it's
the
not
ca-
just that. The actual ship would deteriorate through the elements of the sea, putting
Yeah,
pressure.
it would. Yeah,
It would
Yeah,
eventually.
it would, yeah.
It would actually parts of the actual hull would buckle, surely, and you would get.
yeah. And I
coming in.
think there was a moment in the film where the captain knew it was all coming to an end. Anyway.
Well, at the end, it was convenient that there was some. I can't remember what it was that said that, but there was something where they said they've only got 3 months to live anyway, before something runs out.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. Something ran out, and they only had a short time to get off before. And then you
Yeah.
had the people who said, "Look, I can't leave. This is my home." And later on, there's thing is, it sounds like we take. Like I said, I actually like this film. I think it's.
No, I don't,
I
'cause
think
they
it's a
were
cool
creepy.
idea. It's a cool idea. It just doesn't
were
work in
creepy.
reality. That's a problem. But
The film was really creepy because when you see that scene of the ocean liner under the water appearing and that portal lights up, that's
Cool.
enough to
That's
scare
really
living
cool.
daylights out
I love
of you.
it.
It's cool.
I love it. Yeah, I love
And
it.
then this like weird society still living like the 100 years
Because they've
ago.
not. It was 40 years ago, but yeah, it's the same principle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
40, yeah, from before it was before Second World War.
it was
wasn't
1939, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, and they're still living in this certain way, like dressing up for dinner every night, and he's very disciplined because people commit a crime to kill him, don't they? It's all quite. And some of them were terrified of going back to outside world because they created this sort of perfect society. They played that element quite a lot in this film.
Which I thought was clever.
I
thought that
did
was
because
clever.
when they came in from outside and said we've been to the moon and we've sent satellites and the world's not as you remember it. It was like everybody were like questioning why we're
love
living
that.
down
I
on
love
this
the
country.
idea.
That's what I loved
That
about
was
it.
actually
Very
that-
Logan's run.
That was the very compelling element that they literally were cut off from how society had moved on. And don't forget, I mean, between 1939 and 1981, the world really had a big jump in technology.
Oh, it did.
Um,
Atomic power, plane,
Concorde,
jet aeroplanes, satellites,
Yeah, exactly.
going to the moon.
I love all that. And
Physics,
I think that's really the elements that make it give it its strength.
computers.
And it was like almost like a time travel thing, but it wasn't. It was just people living from a different time and not seeing any of the current time.
Well, they
from their
didn't, and
perspective.
when
That's
and
what
when
I
they
li-
started
that's what I like
finding.
about it.
And the other thing I liked about it as well was that the resistance, the people that wanted to be rescued,
Yeah.
they had that thing at the front of the boat that banged against the.
Oh, the SOS.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Uh,
clever.
but as I watched it, when I found it on YouTube, because one of the first comments was, oh God, I remember this. And if you start going through comment, it's all that I remember this.
At this point, let's look at some of the comments because
I could be wrong on my viewings. That
No,
might
no,
be
no.
the
Actually,
dead.
you got about 10,000, which is pretty good.
Oh right, so right, well, fair enough.
Well-
but read some of the comments.
Yeah, okay,
I remember
so
this.
I won't give out
That's-
the names, but I'll just read out some of the comments in general, and let's just
No,
see
but
what
if you want to watch it, come to By the Gods of Science Fiction. And if you want a Goliath, what's the film called again?
That's not the way to say it. If you
Oh,
want a
no.
Goliath,
Okay.
what's it called again? Goliath awaits. All right, so here we
Goliath,
go.
Right, sorry,
That's,
sorry.
no,
Carry
no,
on,
that's
carry
fine.
on, carry on.
Some of the comments were Whoever wrote this script is a genius. Very original story, which was actually a very, very fair comment. Watched this movie when I was still in elementary school and never really forgot about it. And now I rediscovered it here by chance. Amazing, really nostalgic.
Yeah.
Not many people remember this film, thanks to taking it back from the 1980s. The great Christopher Lee, just decent movie, thank you. Great TV movie, one of my favourites. Thank you for posting. So you got a lot of positive comments.
Because when I posted it, I didn't. It was always never forgot. I came across one or two people over years that mentioned it. Very rare. Oh, do you remember that film?
But we have mentioned it in the past.
We have mentioned it because we both saw it.
Past,
we have mentioned it a couple of times.
And I'm really glad we're doing it today, actually reviewing it.
And I think it was a conversation we had. I went and found it on YouTube, and it's a very.
Is that that's what you got?
It's very decent copy, and I got hold of a copy, and I watched it, and within a couple of days, within about 2 days, I had over 1,000 views, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And then the comments started appearing, and all same thing. I remember this. I've not seen this in years.
So another one said, "Awesome movie. Kind of reminds me a little bit of The Black Hole from 1979." Although the actor from that's in both. He's the guy that was the clone with the white eyes. That film terrified me.
Which film's that?
I don't know. The guy that's in The Black Hole and this, he's one of the people who's from the 1980s who's going down to the boat. He's got dark hair. He's not the love interest for Emma Samms. He's the other guy. And he was in this film where he was in two roles. He was himself and he was a scientist or something, and there was a clone.
Yep.
But the clone was defective, and occasionally it would sort of error, and his eyes would just turn white. And I remember seeing this when I was I saw it when I was about 7 or 8, and I was absolutely bloody terrified.
That'd terrify me. I'd like to know what that is.
I'll look it up and
look it up. Let me know. I'd be interested in that.
I think I've got a copy of it somewhere, but I just can't remember what it's called. What else is it? I love that this looks like it was digitalized off an old home VHS taping, but it probably was. Thank you.
Yeah, but it had it had no physical release, as far as I know. It had no release over here.
I was going to say that the same thing, that this film has never been properly released in any format.
That's what I mean.
Only formats are people who recorded it off the telly 40 years ago. 40 plus years ago.
So that must be a home recording.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. It's a home recording.
Well, it's bloody good quality for a home recording. I'm going to say it bloody is.
Yeah, that's really good. And it's good that you got, obviously you got to share that. But it's definitely a film that I think, okay, the science is hokey, but it's a good story. It's got some great ideas.
Like you read in one of the comments, the person said an original script. And I have to go with that. I know there's flaws left, right, and centre, but just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, but you've got to be a bit open-minded with certain things in this sort of genre.
Yes, yeah. And when 1980, when I watched it, I was about 14 or something, and I was hooked on it. I was so addicted. I think they didn't show it till next week. And I was sat by the TV waiting for part 2.
I think it was on ITV or something, wasn't it?
It was ITV. It was ITV about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I must have seen it at the same time, although I would have been a bit younger than you. I think it was only shown in the UK once, which I must have seen it at the same time. I must have done.
We must have done, because ever since then I've never, even when they had them what is it? Yeah, them channels on Sky, the classic
Sky
TV
One.
channel.
Oh yeah.
UK Gold.
UK Gold.
They showed that. Never showed it on that.
No.
That never appeared.
I reckon if it was made in 1981, it probably didn't get to the UK for at least a couple of years after. I reckon you probably see it about 83. It was about the same time they showed
It could have been. I can't. You could be right. No.
And I think I do remember it though, and I've not forgotten it. So
I've never forgot that film.
That's testament to a film.
It's interesting how a film like that cannot be tracked. On any, and you and I move around the internet in this sort of world we live in of science fiction, and especially the older stuff.
Yeah.
And we've never come across. I mean, we have talked about this several times on the podcast over the last 3-4 years, but we've never ever found any physical, because I would buy this physically.
I
If
would
this was
too.
out there, I would
I'd love
definitely.
to get an HD copy of it. I would love to get a Blu-ray copy of it. Yeah.
This film does one thing what a $100 million film don't do. When they showed this 20 or 30 years ago, people have never forgotten it.
Because it's such an original premise.
Yeah, there's something
clever. It's
about
clever.
Goliath
It's
Waits.
clever. Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of it.
Something so genius.
Yeah.
That look at all them people. They're all similar ages. Oh, I remember that. Oh wow! And that is. And when I was reading commented, I was like, bloody hell, loads of. And I've only seen it once. And you and I once got into a conversation about this a couple of years ago about that film.
That's right.
You know, and then I went looking for it and I found it. I got it and I put it up.
My old school buddy
Christ.
Malcolm Patterson, he got to see it as well. He saw it as well and he loved it. So he's another one who remembered it. So people in that in the sci-fi environment, it's funny because
But why does this film have that power over people like that? Why? What is it?
because it's an interesting idea. I mean, you think of things like the Titanic, where obviously everybody died in that, but the idea of a ship going down, and hokey science would have said that, but them surviving and then being cut off from society for 40 years, it's an interesting one. It's compelling, and then meeting people. And one thing I loved about this film as well, they mentioned a place. They actually mentioned Richmond upon Thames in England in one point of the film, and I thought, I thought that was so cool. Like, hey, that's where I used to work. That's where I used to sort of almost live nearby. So I just thought that was a nice little sort of like a link in there to my personal life. But I just don't know. I can't quite explain it why it works, but it must do if you feel the same as I do.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a copy of it, and would I watch it again? I probably would actually. I don't think I'd go back to it a lot. It'd be every now and again.
Yeah, I watched it recently to review for the podcast. But there's, like I said, I don't remember the budgie scene, but that doesn't matter.
No.
Hang on, your sound's gone off, mate. Okay, your sound's still gone off.
Oh,
That's it. You're back.
I'm back now.
Yeah, you're back. It's all right. I think you nudged it or something. I think it's whatever it is. It's sensitive to whatever you're doing. It tends to knock. You've done it before, and now you got off again. Okay. Do stand by, people. We'll be right back in 1 moment. Martin is just playing with his. Now I hope those two fingers aren't for the audience. Okay. No, still can't hear you, mate. There you go. Hang on, I heard a click. Say something. I think you're back. No, you're gone. Oh yeah, you are. Yeah. You're there.
Right, and so, what is it about this film? What holds it like that?
Well, I mean, obviously we're going around in circles, but I will say, I think what makes it stand out is a unique premise. I think also the film, for what it looks like, it looks good, even though it's obviously old. But I think the biggest failure is that I think this film should have got at least a DVD release, not maybe a Blu-ray player. It should have got some release of some sort. It's got some good actors in this. Christopher Lee and Emma Samms is enough to pull in, I would have thought, the audience of people who like classic movies. I'm really glad that it's got a cult following. It deserves it. Do you think, I suppose, anything's possible? Do you think it could be remade? And I do ask this question quite a lot.
Would you want it to be remade? Could you watch a remake?
I wouldn't want, but I would check out a remake if it was
do you remember? Do you remember Sequest DSV?
I do remember Sequest DSV.
Do you remember that episode where they found an ocean liner underwater? And
do you know what? I've got them.
One of the submarines went up to it, and there was a light in the portal. And I watched that, and I thought
they copied it.
They copied that. Yeah,
they probably did copy that.
Yeah.
So, do you think it will ever get more recognition? I suppose it's the more time that's going by.
I think if it got released, if one of these specialist companies, movie companies like Eureka Film, they do the special Blu-rays and 4Ks. I think it deserves a remaster, and I think it should be. I think it's a film that should be treated with the respect it's due. I really do. And there's something. It should have been a classic. I mean, I covered it. I covered it.
It
on
should have been a classic. That's what you say, yeah.
I can't. And if you want to check that out, go to my channel. But Goliath Awaits is a fucking superb film. I know, right? We mock it on the science now. No,
it's only the science. It's only the science. That's all.
They're eating budgies. Well, the budgies are. They've got all these birds in this aviary. They're dining all, and that's where they're getting.
Well,
like,
maybe they got some
from.
chickens as well.
Well, they might have some chickens on fucking board. I don't know. But I mean, how do the toilets work? I mean, how do the?
Oh God!
You know,
it's always like X-wings. Every time I watch,
well, that's true. Though you've never found an answer to that.
Yeah,
question,
or what's that film with Tom Cruise with the planes? Can't think what it's called. Top Gun. I always think of Top Gun. Like, what happens if he wants to, take a shit or something? Yeah, I don't know about the toilet.
You're not going to take a shit flying at Mach 2, are you?
He might do. What if you had a dodgy curry?
I'm just cruising at Mach 2, but
you might have had a dodgy curry or something. What if he flies in somewhere and he lands or something, and he has a bit of sort of like lunch or something? He has to go on his mission to bomb Baghdad or something, and he needs to take a shit.
I'm just saying. The guy was he could have probably saved him for a year or two, but even that's like.
So toilet
but
facilities. What's the toilet facility?
Well, you've got where we are today. We look at these things like they're eating fucking budgies, right? They're eating budgies, or there's some kind of birds. They're in there, and they cook them and they have eggs, and there might have been chickens on board, so they get them all breeding, don't they?
Yeah, and after 40 years,
I don't know about fish.
They have a chicken factory. They've probably got a chicken factory.
Well, they can't open a window, can they? And stick their hand out there.
Chickens are smelly though. They get smelly though. And what about all the chicken shit?
Well, that's probably used.
Yeah, they need somewhere to dump all the stuff. What about all the stuff from
chicken
40
shit
years?
can be turned into fuel, can't it?
Oh,
Bird
so is that what's powering the lights?
I suppose so. Yeah, because because he had a generator. He put this generator together.
All right. So
I remember there was some kind of green stuff where he got the oxygen from.
So
and then he had a generator. So again, what about the fucking light bulbs? They're gonna go out,
so the light bulbs should have conked out. They should have a ship full of chicken shit or budgie shit.
Yeah, but you can use the chicken shit as fuel.
What about human poo? What about piss? What about all the mess from eating stuff?
Well, that's true.
And what about clothes and stuff? How come wouldn't they've all worn out after 40 years? I mean, Christopher Lee's still got his captain's jacket on. Surely he would have been a bit manky by then, wouldn't it?
Well, maybe I don't know. I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
What about a razor to shave and stuff? How can they shave and stuff and all the
Well, I don't. Well, use a fucking knife or
use a knife. What like in Predator, where he's sort of like actually used a.
What, Christopher Lee?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't just enjoy the bloody film.
Have they got any shaving cream? Have they got any shaving cream?
Well, there's probably a shop down there. There'll have been supplies on ship.
So they can somehow get water. They've got toilet facilities. They've got bird food.
Tennis courts, swimming
tennis courts. Yeah. I still like.
Well, they've made it work, haven't they? They've made it work.
I still like this film. I'm not gonna. I know I'm joking about the science, but I don't care. Just watch it. They're stuck down there. They've survived. They get discovered by the US. It was a US-British coalition thing, wasn't it, or something?
Yes, it was. But the film's achieved great magic because like I said before, all these years later, people are still talking about it. So it had an effect, didn't it? And it does deserve. It deserves the respect it deserves.
And it does. And just because our humour sometimes is a bit out there, we do both like the film, and that is the truth.
Because we both love the film, because we have memories.
Yeah, I like it.
But it is right. It's bloody different. I mean, it's such a simple script, and it's people surviving in a ship under the sea for 50 years.
Yeah, I know. It's just had a compelling idea. Anyway, so I suppose it's time to wrap things up. What would you rate it out of 10?
Despite its faults, and it never got the full recognition except amongst a small group. Mm-hmm. Goliath Awaits, I'm going to give you 10 out of 10.
I'm not going to give it as high as that. I'm going to give it.
Oh, come
uh,
on.
No.
Oh, I think that's a bit below. Come on.
10 out of 10. Yeah, but you give everything 10 out of 10. You've got to give
I don't
significance.
give everything out of
You do.
10 out of. I just think this film's worthy of 10 out of 10.
I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
All right, yeah, I accept that. Yeah, all right.
And it's only what pulls it down is the dodgy science. That's why it loses 2 points. Sorry, that is honesty. That's all. If they had actually, if they had a chicken factory and they had a supply of water, and they also have 50,000 light bulbs that they kept in the storeroom somewhere, then
well, there might have been light bulbs in a storage room because it was an ocean liner. They might have had enough.
But would that last 40 years worth of light bulbs for every cabin? For every person on that ship.
Well, they probably don't have every cabin on.
Well, how do they see
Yeah,
it?
again, if that crashed at bottom of the ocean, wouldn't they?
There'd be no light from outside, would there? Because it's too far down.
No. Oh, it is what it is. Just
8 out of 10. It's 8 out of 10. It's 8 out of 10.
Okay, I accept that. Is acceptable.
Martin, thank you very much for reviewing this one. I'll tell you
I've
one thing,
enjoyed this
it's
one.
so comical doing these reviews. I love doing these. I love the banter we have with these movies, and that's what makes it fun. Martin, thank you very much. So next week we're going to be reviewing another interesting film with a very annoying monkey, but it's a good film, and that is, of course, Robinson Crusoe on Mars, which I've only just seen recently. And do you know what? I'd completely forgotten about this movie. I'd seen it so long ago, I'd almost forgotten. I forgot about 99% of it. But all I remember was the monkey in the astronaut suit who kept eating, and the sausage plants, and that's the only thing I remember about it. And I quite enjoyed it actually. So I'm gonna like your perspective on that one next week, because that was definitely had some influences on films like The Martian and all sorts of stuff. So, Martin, thank you very much. So we shall see you next week on the Solo on Sci-Fi podcast.
And if you want to watch Goliath Waits, check out my YouTube channel, By the Gods of Science Fiction.
It's there, it's good, and please review it and rate it and give it a thumbs up for my friend's great channel, because he's got some great stuff. Martin, thank you very much. See you next week on the Solo One Sci-Fi podcast.
Live long and prosper. Right, well, that's that done. Quite happy, enjoyed that.
And we're still talking. We're fading out now because we're still talking. So bye.
Oh, right. Bye.